Love isn't usually something one considers when tearing limbs and ripping spines, but these do put a smile on my face. Hello fellow oddities, and welcome to every Mortal Kombat ship, explained and ranked worst to best. We will be going through a whole list of canon, implied, and fan-made romantic relationships, or ships for short, between the Mortal Kombat characters, in honor of Valentine's Day. Yes, a person who isn't, has never been, and never plans to be in a romantic relationship is going to tell you which ones are good and which ones are bad. Cry about it. The only rule is that it must be between two Mortal Kombat playable characters, so no Hanzo and Harumi, or Kenshi and Suchin, or anything like that. The tiers I'll be putting these ships into are Destiny for the ones that transcend timelines and universes, Marriage Material for the ones that are till death do they part, Cute for the ones that just make you go aww, Ups and Downs for ships that will have some high points but also some lows, Not Working Out for the ones that will ultimately end for one reason or another, Toxic for the ones that will result in emotional trauma on both sides, and Problematic for the ones that are straight up illegal. And before we start, I am hosting a Mortal Kombat debate session on February 21st at 1 PM EST on my Discord server, where you can debate me on anything Mortal Kombat related. The link to sign up will be in the description, pinned comment, and top right hand corner. So let's begin with probably the most iconic relationship in the series, Liu Kang x Kitana. This relationship was started by Mortal Kombat in 1995, where it was heavily implied, then its sequel, Annihilation, made it a real couple. The same year, MK4 released, and in that, Kitana asked Liu to rule alongside her in Edenia, but he had to refuse as Earthrealm's champion. However, even after this, the relationship was never really committed to for years. Yes, they had ridiculously flirty and on-the-nose moments and gestures for one another, but even in the reboot MK9, which had the chance to retell their story, again, it never became an official relationship. That was until MK11 and MK1. In MK11, they were still kinda just flirty with each other for the most part, but the non-canon good ending had them clearly together as they crafted a new timeline. Why wasn't this the canon ending? And in MK1, Titan Liu Kang and Titan Kitana finally just kiss, and that's where the relationship is currently. This relationship is going straight into Destiny, the main male character of Mortal Kombat and the main female character of Mortal Kombat. One wears red, the other wears blue. The styles and personalities match up so well. Come on, this is the perfect relationship if things wouldn't just keep getting in the way through no fault of them. But if they were just given the chance, no doubt, this is the quintessential MK couple. Next up, the second most popular ship in MK, or some would argue the most popular, Cage and Sonya Blade. Again, this ship was made popular by the live-action 90s MK movies. Johnny always had a thing for Sonya, but particularly Annihilation made it clear Sonya felt the same way. The original game timeline never made it official though, but the rebooted timeline certainly did, with the two getting together and even having a kid, but soon breaking up because Sonya was just too busy in her Special Forces business. However, after the events of MKX, the two would get back together just in time for Sonya to die. Damn. Anyways, this is a relationship you wouldn't really expect to work out. I mean, their personalities couldn't be more different, plus the both of them having very demanding jobs. And you see that a lot in several games and outside media. The two argue a lot before, during, and after their relationship, but somehow it always works out in a weird way at the end. I'm gonna throw this one in Ups and Downs. It's one of those relationships that, looking at the two as individuals, shouldn't work out, and for those reasons there are a lot of issues, but somehow the two of them are still drawn to each other and able to make it somewhat work. Is this a good relationship to raise a kid? Probably not, but I don't think it's straight up not working out, so I think Ups and Downs is a good place for it. Next we have, Mileena and Tanya. This relationship started in MKX, where the two had a very flirtatious dialogue.
Dearest Tanya,
shall we proceed, Empress?
It will be my pleasure.
And then MK11 showed that, in Mileena's crafted timeline, she made herself and Tanya a couple with a child and all. Then in MK1, Mileena sneaking around to meet with Tanya is actually what causes her to catch Tarkat, and of course the two are very clearly hiding a relationship. Now I actually made a whole video about this that you can check out in the top right hand corner, but I feel like this relationship is a little bit queerbaity, and for those that don't know, queerbaiting is when you strongly imply a queer relationship but never really commit to it. So basically, you're trying to get points from the LGBTQ+ community without also facing the backlash that may come if you take the ship more seriously. In this case, I don't like how NRS promotes this relationship as a true LGBTQ+ relationship in MK, basically their only one, because this is a very toxic dynamic where Mileena is being manipulated by Tanya, who is taking advantage of Mileena's insecurities and want to be accepted in order to do what Tanya does, benefit only herself. So this relationship is going straight into toxic. I know Tanya in MK1 is a different depiction who's a good person, but do any of us actually give a shit about the MK1 timeline? Next we have Jade and Kotal Kahn. This one was introduced in MK11, where it was said that while Kotal was simply a general in Shao's army and Jade was Kitana's bodyguard, they had a secret relationship. So when Jade from the past returns through Chronica shenanigans, she meets up with the present day Kotal Kahn, and they basically hit it off right away. But it turns out Kotal's heart has hardened as he tries to commit genocide against the Tarkatans, which Jade is strongly against. Jade hates Israel, confirmed, but they make it work in the end. What doesn't work is Kotal's legs.
KK in a wheelchair.
This relationship came completely out of the blue, so narratively I don't think it's that good. As a ship though, I think it's cute. It has its issues like the whole genocide thing, but other than that, it has its fun little moments that make you feel squishy inside. Next we have Takeda and Jacqui, which originated in MKX. The two were on the same Special Forces team, and from the beginning they always clearly had a thing for each other. But as the events of the game play out, they become closer and closer, before clearly becoming a couple by the end of the game. Then in MK11, despite Takeda not being present in the game's roster, it's said time and time again that he and Jacqui plan to marry. I mean, I think that clearly means this has to go in marriage material if they're actually getting married. If this was just the MKX storyline though, I'd just put it in cute. Then we have what I think is the most recent ship to be added, Bi-Han and Sektor. This relationship is heavily implied during Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns. Sektor is clearly Bi-Han's favorite student, ill, yuck, and when Bi-Han is captured by Havoc, Sektor is hellbent on saving him. When they rescue him, with him now being Noob Saibot, the two share a intimate moment. This is going into, I want to put it lower, but just in not working out. Listen, Bi-Han hasn't realized his love for demon goth girls yet. He needs to travel to the Netherrealm, spend some time there, meet some new people, and then he'll realize that he just needs a nice demon goth girl in his life. Then he'll dump Sektor, so the relationship is just going to end eventually because it's just not meant to be. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. From one Sub-Zero brother to the other, now we have Kuai, Liang, and Hanzo Hasashi. This is our first completely fan-made relationship, and these two have had a weird dynamic over the years. Hanzo killed Kuai's brother, Hanzo tried to protect Kuai as a result, but then Quan Chi told Hanzo Kuai killed his family. Then in the reboot timeline, Kuai tried to get revenge for his brother's death. It's just been very wishy-washy, but when the two are older, more mature, Hanzo is no longer Scorpion, they do make up and become friends. But because of their history, it feels like this relationship is kind of unstable, so I'm gonna put it in ups and downs. If everything is perfect, hey, it could work, but there are so many other factors and characters that, with one action or sentence, this could go up in flames. And ice. Not the ice that's murdering people, the Sub-Zero ice. Next we have Kung Lao and Jade. This is one fans have just concluded, hey, if Kitana is with Liu Kang, then Jade should be with Kung Lao. And there is an intro dialogue in MK11 in which Kung Lao is brutally rejected, so you know where this one's going.
Double date with Liu Kang and Kitana?
In your dreams, Kung Lao.
A simple no would have sufficed.
Now we have Goro and Sheeva. This one really has nothing to it. Sheeva is simply one of Goro's 7 wives, and hey, no issue with being polyamorous, but I don't think Sheeva is really into Goro like that. In fact, the implications of it could easily put this straight into problematic, but I'm gonna be hopeful and just say not working out. Then we have Reptile and Khameleon. Now, Reptile and Khameleon in none of the timelines have really interacted, but this one is kind of a natural conclusion considering the state of their race. Both Reptile and Khameleon are pretty much the last remaining Zaterrans that exist in Outworld, along with probably, maybe, possibly Khameleon, but that's never been confirmed. So yeah, at least Reptile's life goal has always been to restore his race, and I'm sure with it being the only option, Khameleon is probably down as well, and I think it would have to be a marriage situation in order to have the best chance of success. Then we have Kobra and Kira. Kobra and Kira were both recruited as part of Kabal's Black Dragon in Deception, and they are best friends, implied to maybe be more so than that. But they also kill each other in each other's endings, so yeah, even if that wasn't a thing, I've always seen them as more as friends than a couple. I think I'm gonna throw it in not working out. Then we have Mei and Onaga. This one originates from her non-canon Deception ending, where she betrays the good guys because she fell madly in love with Onaga. Yeah, the real Mei would never do that. I'm sending this one to toxic, because even if Mei was actually like this, Onaga is almost certainly manipulating her and will take advantage of her weird newfound infatuation with him, which is already pretty toxic in and of itself. Then we have Johnny and Kenshi. This one is fan-made, as the two seem quite close in MK1. They start out fighting each other, but later develop a bromance, and Johnny even gives Kenshi the Sword of Sento, which kinda saves his ass from being blind. I'm actually gonna put this all the way up in marriage material, because I think they have a really good arc going on, showing how they can overcome their differences. At first, Johnny is very possessive of the sword, Kenshi wants it because it's tied to his family history, and eventually Johnny cares about him enough to overrule his selfishness, and of course it's very cute how Johnny helps him after he's been blinded. Then we have Sindel and Shao Kahn. Oof. The story goes that Shao Kahn, in his mission to conquer all the realms, went after Sindel's realm of Edenia, which she was the queen of. Edenia lost 10 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments, allowing Kahn to take it, so he invades, kills Sindel's husband, Jared, and then takes her as his wife, and her daughter as his as well. Sindel ends up taking herself out, but years later, Shao has her resurrected in Earthrealm, as a loophole allows him to enter the realm in order to claim his wife. Yeah, this one is obviously non-consensual, thus immediately going straight into problematic. No further statements need to be made. However, Twindel x Shao Kahn is a different story. Twindel is the retconned version of Sindel from MK11, who actually betrayed her husband and willingly became Shao Kahn's wife. Twindel would die and get resurrected just as in the original timeline, but then she'd die and get resurrected again, this time as a revenant, and she'd be restored to Edenian form and get back together with Shao, who was from the past. It's MK11. This relationship can go much higher. Obviously the two are evil, so objectively speaking, it's a bad relationship, but looking at it from their perspective, it'll work out. The two clearly love each other, love being evil and doing bad stuff, so they're gonna go into marriage material. Then we have Bi-Han x Kuai Liang. Now on to Mileena and Baraka. This one is probably the oldest ship Mileena has had, who we will be talking about quite a bit today. And it makes sense, cause the problem Mileena has had with finding a partner is that they need to not mind the monster mouth. Baraka, biologically, probably gets turned on from a monster mouth, so it's a win for both, right? And Baraka does help free Mileena in Deception, and it's confirmed in an MKX intro dialogue that they slept together.
Repulsive human.
Sleeping with Baraka's repulsive.
Who told you this?
But I think Baraka reminds Mileena of all the worst parts of herself. The lust for blood, feral nature, and ugliness. Plus, she's probably more mentally and emotionally intelligent than him. But you know what, there could be some high points in there as well, so I'm gonna put it in ups and downs. Then we have Tanya and Rain. This ship was popularized in MKX as the two were working together with Mileena and planned to betray her. Plus they're pretty similar, both being Edenians who constantly backstab people. Now I would have put this in Toxic originally since it's two people who are incapable of being loyal, but Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns came out and gave us a canon Tanya and Rain relationship. Yes, they were an alternate timeline version, but I want to rank that couple since they were one of the best parts of MK1 as a whole, and I give them a marriage material. They are just super cute together, and the story was very effective at making you feel sad for them when Rain died, despite not really knowing either of them that well. Then we have Reptile and Ashrah. This is one introduced in MK1 in several intro dialogues. We don't know much about it. Okay, I guess it is kind of cute, but I'm gonna put it in ups and downs because, I mean, Reptile just learned that his wife and child died, and also he's a reptilian. Like, I get he has a very attractive human form, but his true form looks like this. And I would certainly not take Ashrah to be a person that's into, all that, but hey, to each their own, I'm still putting it in ups and downs. Then we have, oh god, Skarlet and Shao Kahn in MK11. Skarlet is Shao Kahn's adopted daughter, but she has a thing for him. And as much as I don't want it to be reciprocated, she has a gear piece named the Sacred Seed of Shao Kahn. How did she get that? There's two possibilities. Both of them are horrific, and describing them will get this video demonetized. So yep, placing this ship straight down here, and if you have questions about that, get help. Then we have the big one. A lone, cold-hearted cryomancer who has known nothing but harsh training and death his whole life, meets a demon woman who has also been detained and forced to kill for her life, raised by a figure who doesn't truly care about her at all. I am, of course, talking about Bi-Han x Jataka. There's a gear piece in MK11 for Noob that's called Jataka's Consort. But now, the real ship we're all here for, Bi-Han x Sareena. After Bi-Han steals the amulet of Shinnok and gives it to Quan Chi, he is sent into the Netherrealm to steal it back. There, he meets a demon woman named Sareena. He spares her life, and in return, she helps him defeat Quan Chi. Sareena begs Bi-Han to take her with him back to Earth, as all she's ever known is Quan Chi and being forced to work as an expendable assassin in the Netherrealm. Unfortunately, she is killed immediately after by Shinnok, but not actually because it's the Netherrealm and she's a demon. I love this relationship because of how their backstories reflect each other, but the characters themselves are wildly different. Bi-Han grew up in the Lin Kuei under harsh conditions, being forced to drown out his emotions and kill people for a clan that ultimately does not care about him. Sareena is a demon in the Netherrealm, but she was also forced to work for the Brotherhood of Shadow and Quan Chi and kill people for her masters who don't care about her either. And then Sareena bringing out Bi-Han's softer side and Bi-Han giving Sareena hope she can break free from Quan Chi, it's just perfection. And then Bi-Han being resurrected in the Netherrealm and becoming the exact thing Sareena always was for Quan Chi. Mwah. 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 That's what they need to do. They need to make out. Mwah. And I want to watch. So yeah, this relationship is a destiny, it's too perfect. NRS are a bunch of wusses who hate the 3D era so much they can't allow one of their characters to have a cool dynamic and would rather gender swap an arcade era character to give her relationship to. Anyways, now we're at Kuai, Liang, and Smoke. This is another fan ship. Kuai, Liang, and Smoke were lifelong friends in the original and first reboot timeline. They went on the run together from the Lin Kuei when the Cyber Initiative began, but in each timeline, one of them is captured and turned. In the newest timeline though, they're brothers, so if that's the one we're working with, straight down to problematic. But assuming we're talking about one of the other timelines, yeah, I'll put it in cute, it could work. Then we have two we can just kind of gloss over with Mileena and Goro and Mileena and Reiko. Both of these were just kind of Mileena being the seductress she is, having some fun while also getting on both of their good sides, but not anything meant to be taken seriously either time, not working out. D'Vorah and Kotal.
Brother,
Yeah, apparently they got together according to an intro dialogue in MK11.
Do you tell Jade about us?
there is nothing to tell, D'Vorah.
Such deception, Kotal.
This one is pretty obviously going into not working out. Not only is Kotal now committed to Jade, but D'Vorah is an unloyal scumbag. And I'm pretty sure Kotal was just trying it out because he's a curious dude. How would it work? I wouldn't try it, but someone's got to find out for the rest of us. These next two are both from intro dialogues, Erron Black and Natara, and Erron Black and Skarlet. There's not really much to say for these ones. I don't think either of them would be that into Erron, and clearly neither relationship really stuck, so they're going into not working out. Then we have Sindel and Ermac, which is basically just my loophole to the only playable characters rule, because really we're talking about Sindel and King Jared, with King Jared's soul residing inside of Ermac and him becoming the predominant soul of Ermac in Mortal Kombat 1. Of course, Jared was Sindel's wife before he died and Edenia got merged into Outworld, and we don't know that much about their relationship, but I think it's gotta go in Destiny. Pretty much every timeline with a Sindel has her with a Jared, and other than the Twindel thing, which I don't count as the real Sindel, their relationship is always wholesome and works out. Until they both die, but that's not their fault. I mean, I guess in the case of Sindel it kind of is, but the point is, power couple. Our second to last one, bleh. Kabal and Sareena from Kabal's MK11 ending. I'm sorry, even if we're talking good guy Kabal, Sareena is not into this dude. I don't buy it. He's just too trashy, I guess. Especially MK11 Kabal is just kind of a douche and an idiot. So yeah, Sareena needs someone who's gonna be there for her and help her through her issues. Not this guy. Plus, when they're getting hot and heavy, I think Kabal might get some PTSD when Sareena, is going and not working out. And finally, the last ship that we're talking about is probably the most iconic, classic, fan-made relationship in Mortal Kombat, Scorpion x Mileena. I mean, it's the widely beloved edgy male ninja and the widely beloved edgy female ninja of the series. MK9 really popularized this ship with the whole teddy bear level of the challenge tower, but taking into account the two characters' personalities, is this a good ship or no? This ship is going into toxic, because I think this would be a very toxic relationship, and it all has to do with jealousy. Mileena is very desperate to be accepted, so how is she gonna feel when this dude's whole purpose, the only reason he's risen from hell, is to avenge another woman? Then Scorpion, on the other hand, was Hanzo Asashi. Living in Japan, he's a very traditional man with traditional values. You think he's gonna be okay with Mileena wearing that outside, or being flirty with other men? It would just be a disaster of a relationship. But that'll do it. Did I miss any important relationships, fan-made or canon? Let me know in the comments down below. And again, with a reminder that I am hosting a Mortal Kombat debate session on February 21st on my Discord server, and the link to sign up is in the description, pinned comment, and top right-hand corner. Subscribe and leave a like if you want, and that's wraps on this one, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.